Speculation.
All right. Well, we touched on this a little bit, but I think before we get to old tweets exposed here on Mackey and Judd, I think we should talk about the new Mike Zimmer a little bit more. So you've got, as of yesterday, you've got veteran off days on a Wednesday, by the way, like the most important practice day.
Do you remember that last year? I don't remember seeing a
Maybe
list.
A couple here.
I might be wrong, but I mean that's a lot of players. And
not week 4. Certainly not week 4,
yeah,
right?
Okay.
Where you've got a handful of players
I just want
that
to
are
make
getting.
sure we're not wrong there, but I don't remember last year.
So and it's the schedule expanded. This is smart, and we could talk about this. But let me just go through a little list here. So he's giving veteran off days in week 4 on a Wednesday. So Rashad Hill Adam Thielen was on that list yesterday. Just hey, don't bother practicing.
Harrison Smith, Patrick Peterson, I believe.
Yep, he is now spending a lot more time than he has in the previous 3 years with his starting quarterback, which really I don't even know how much credit you get for that. Like you should be spending time with your starting quarterback. He's the most important player on the roster, but they're watching film together. They had a big sort of come to Jesus discussion that centered around vaccines, but looks like it may have evolved their relationship. And he's defending kickers. Greg Joseph is melting down, missing an extra point and missing a 37-yard game winner. And in previous years, Mike Zimmer would have just gotten up there and shoved the kicker right into the front of the bus going 70 miles an hour, right? And this time around, he's like, hey, everyone needs to just calm down here, okay? Kickers are people too.
And they miss
kicks. Just cut the guy some slack.
Calm.
So what do you make of this new Mike Zimmer that we're seeing here in the first couple months?
Well, first of all, we didn't see this Mike in training camp. And so I wonder if the whole thing in training camp where, God bless him, he was frontal, I wonder if that has played a role in somebody getting to him or him rethinking things. And I say the latter because, not surprisingly, and this is not just true of Mike. But guys like Parcells and Zimmer and a lot of coaches, especially crusty ones, don't really listen much. So it's not like Spielman can just, close the door of the coach's office and be like, hey, Mike, you got to change your ways. Okay, Rick, thanks a lot. I will. Now, could players have gotten to him? Certainly. But the Mike Zimmer that we saw in training camp, who was frustrated and getting uptight in training camp, not just the exhibition games. We talked about this. It didn't look right. It didn't look good. Like it had a weird feeling to it. Once the quarterback room was essentially quarantined, it got sort of contentious. So something has changed since then. And here's the interesting dynamic, I think, to delve deep into this that might have played a role. Mike Zimmer and Kirk Cousins are polar opposite humans as far as their beliefs go, I think, as far as how they approach life, as far as which one's probably in church early on Sunday and which one's not. They're very different people. But as far as how they're wired, they're the same guy. They're both incredibly headstrong. They both believe that they're right, and they both are very reluctant to listen to people who tell them you're wrong, you need to change. And I wonder if the whole vaccine thing in some ways has played so far. And I say this so far because this could change, but I wonder if it's played a very important role in getting those two closer because they literally had to fight instead of ignoring each other. Previously, it felt like there was just a disconnect and they didn't really like the other guy, but I don't know that there was something to get them together to actually address that. This did. And it seems to me like both guys, because this is not just a Mike thing, it's Kirk too. Both guys have taken large steps towards sort of coming to the other side just a little bit, which is what you need. And so I really do think that that's a big thing. And then the last thing, Phil, is this. I'm convinced, and Realistic Randy brought this up on our Purple After Dark on Tuesday, and I think he's right. Kirk Cousins has had great Kirktober, because he's had adversity in September. And I think I don't think Kirk shrinks in the moment all the time. I think he's also just sort of, how can I put this? I think he gets comfortable. And then things go wrong and he's like, what happened? But I think when he's challenged, so when everyone says you don't like your team, you don't care about your team, Kirk loves the I'll show you. And I feel like what Kirk has done in September is showing people flat out, hey,
You're
I'm good.
selfish. You don't care about the
Yeah,
team.
right. But I mean, that's the
Yeah.
like he's not lazy, but I think he gets incredibly comfortable, and he needs to be jarred from that comfort. And his last 2 Septembers have jarred him in October. This time he got the jarring from what you just said. You don't care. So I think that there's a lot of different things behind the scenes that are working here to have changed the dynamic for both the coach and the quarterback, at least for now.
I'm gonna stop short of saying that all of this like is permanent change, and
Right.
they've won one game. All right, they lost 3 preseason games, and then they lost the first 2, and like yeah, they were super close. They probably should have won one of, if not both of those first 2 games. But this Browns game is going to be so telling for so many reasons, right? If they can take all of the positive feelings and vibes and momentum from that Seahawks game and beat the Browns. And I think right now, I think it's a pick 'em. I'd have to go look. I guess I haven't seen it in 24 hours, but the line opened Vikings -1. So this is good. This is supposed to be a close game. Do you have the latest line?
I got my sports page right here,
Curious.
guys.
Yeah.
I went to the store today, picked it up. According to the line in the Today Star Tribune, it is Cleveland by 2.
Oh, so it's
Oh.
shifted that much.
So
Okay.
the money has shifted.
Okay. Which really means Cleveland by almost a touchdown on a neutral field, right? Because
Correct.
it's to be sort of 3 points for
Correct.
for Vikings at home.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, and I think Cleveland is the better team on paper until the Vikings prove otherwise. But I'm getting some. We brought this up on a Purple Daily episode like a month and a half ago that Mike Zimmer probably has to look at Tom Coughlin from 2007 and it's not totally apples to apples, but you might have to make some changes if you want your career to continue. I'm getting some early 2007 Tom Coughlin vibes here from Mike Zimmer. He's a little bit more of a lightened version of himself. He's going out of his way to build relationships with key people that maybe he otherwise would have told to go bleep themselves in the past. Kirk Cousins, the kicker, right? It feels like Diet Mike Zimmer in terms of his abrasive personality.
Yes.
Not Diet Mike Zimmer in terms of his scheming and everything, but he is making a concerted effort to make some strategic changes to the way that he goes about coaching in year 8 or whatever it is here. And that's a good thing. Now, maybe they lose to the Browns and all of this and then they're 1-3 and all of this kind of gets flushed. But I'm getting some early Tom Coughlin 2007 vibes here. I just want to throw that out there on the record.
I'm with you completely on saying let's not get excited. Like they lost 2 games. But I think what we're doing here, and it's fair, is we're taking what we're seeing and what they're doing, and what they're doing and what Mike in particular is doing goes against a lot of the stuff that he's done in the past. So I think what we're glumming onto and talking about here are changes that are taking place. Now, it might work, it might not. But when Mike is giving veterans days off, when he is now making a conscious effort to go out of his way, not only to watch film with Kirk Cousins, but to repeatedly compliment him and talk about the leadership and talk about what he's doing and how it's great, that's not Mike. This is new. In Kirk's case, the team is 1-2, and that's disappointing. That being said, Kirk Cousins, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is playing really well. So it's to me it's not like, is this a Super Bowl springboard? To me, it's obvious changes that are being made because let's be frank here. Zimmer's job's in jeopardy if they're not good. Spielman's job also could be. We don't know. And Kirk Cousins, as much as he's due, and it's a lot in 2022, wants another big contract. So I think people are making alterations, not just based on, hey, you know what, it would be fun to win. I think they're making alterations based on their futures. And if you're a Vikings fan, it's at least worth a shot.
Yeah, you're right. It is kind of it's not a contract year officially for these guys, but it is kind of a contract year, and that Mike Zimmer won't be under contract and he'll get paid next year either way.
Right.
But like if Kirk Cousins might as well be in a contract year because that $45 million cap hit is a fork in the road for either an extension or a trade or something. And whether the change in climate for Mike Zimmer leads to more wins or leads to a win over the Browns, all of that remains to be seen. But there is a difference when he's coming out and telling the masses, "Hey, you guys are being way too hard on Greg Joseph. We really believe in this kid. You know, kickers miss kicks. What are you guys overreacting for?" You're like, "What?
Who are you?
Who are you?"
He has praised Kirk Cousins more in the first 3 weeks of 2021 than he did from 2018 to 2020.
So another thing too. So Dalvin Cook came out yesterday and lavishly praised Kirk's leadership, and we've heard. Yeah, he said that's my quarterback. That's the other thing. So and you've had multiple players and Mike Zimmer say that, hey, his leadership is different this year. It's better this year. It's more present this year, which I take in two ways. Number one, I'm like, dude, you got paid $100 million over 3 years to not lead? Like, where were you? Where were you in 2018, 2019 as that guy? I guess better late than never. But clearly players and Mike Zimmer are noticing, okay, Kirk has been more assertive and vocal and just more of that leadership presence that other franchise quarterbacks are all the time. What do you make of that?
I think it goes back to largely training camp, and I'm going to say I think it goes back to the whole vaccination thing with Kirk, because he wants to show. I mean, Kirk's not a dumb dude. He's oblivious at times, but he's not a dumb guy. And he heard the criticism. He heard flat out. I mean, how many of us said it's really clear he doesn't care that much about this team? Because if he did, he'd be all in no matter what he had to do.
I was less about the vaccine for that and more about the lack of contract restructuring this season.
But
like, if you want a left guard, then you need to restructure your contract. He doesn't care.
But the locker room thing and that dynamic caused a lot of talk about how committed he was to this team and for how much he's paid. So I go back to, I think Kirk likes to be challenged. And when Kirk is challenged, it brings out the best in Kirk. And he's the guy who probably has to get pissed off to take control. And, you know, when you roll in for the start of training camp and you're paid like Kirk and you're good, but you're not great. And you're just like, oh, all right, we got Dalvin, we got this and that. And I'm a piece to the puzzle. Well, then people are basically saying, you're not a good piece to the puzzle. And he's like, bleep that. I am too. So what I make of this is, in Kirk's mind, Kirk was challenged. And that's when Kirk takes control because he's ticked off. But a ticked off Kirk is way better than a comfortable Kirk.
Yeah, we're kind of getting you like that, Kirk, right now.
You like that?
No,
like that?
not kind of. No, not kind of. We are
Full
getting
on.
that Kirk.
We're getting full on you like that,
Man,
Kirk.
you held him to 20 points, man. You gave us a chance at the end, but I got 3 words for you. You like that?
And to delve down more, go back to what Kirk said Kyle Shanahan told him in Washington. Your swag is you've got no swag. But if you're comfortable with who you are, people will like that.
Andrew Luck had no swag, but he owned his nerdiness, right?
And then
Peyton Manning didn't have any swag either. No. Peyton Manning's kind of just a dorky, funny guy.
But Peyton had that athletic chip of, I'm going to beat you no matter what. Yeah. Kirk lacks that chip, but it can be set off, and I think it's been in some way set off.
Yeah, it's been really interesting through the first few weeks here. A shout out to our friends and partners at Federated Mutual Insurance Company, which is going to present old tweets exposed here on Mackey and Judd. Federated's been helping business owners for over 100 years, and they can help you as a business owner with risk management, bottom line protection, and also protecting your employees. Find out more about the resources and tools and people that can help you at federatedinsurance.com. And remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours. All right, Declan goes into the archives, and he finds incriminating old tweets from our 12 years tweeting nonsense. Declan, what do you got?
Before we get to old tweets exposed, and this actually segues really, really well, can I make a bonus write that down if the committee allows it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think you can.
Yeah, I think so.
I will say Christian Darrisaw will be active, and he will play against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. I'm not going to say he starts, but he's going to play on Sunday. I think he's going to play.
Okay. Why do you feel that way?
He was a full participant in practice. Rashad Hill's the second worst graded tackle by Pro Football Focus. Yeah, Myles Garrett's a is a beast, but I think it's trending that Christian Darrisaw is going to play on Sunday. I want to think so, and I want this on the record.
So to write that down is he will play, but he won't start?
He will be active, and he will play on the offensive line. So I'm not going to say he starts, but he's going to be active, which he has been inactive
He'll get at
for
least
3
a
weeks.
snap on Sunday, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
I think this is. I almost feel like this is a home run if this happens. Judd, do you think this is a home run? He didn't practice all offseason.
He's been inactive for 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it'll count for this show.
And I know that Rashad Hill has been bad, but this is also the same franchise that ran Dakota Dozier out there for like 14 games last year.
This is true.
With anybody else available to come in and start.
All right.
I'm all for Detroit being the first real dose of NFL play for Christian Darrisaw. But you're right. I mean, Rashad Hill's been bad. Rashad Hill wasn't injured though, right? Is this official? Like this was not an injury yesterday. It was a Veterans Day off. Right?
Veterans Day, maintenance day.
That makes it even more of a home run then, because it's not like he might not play because he's got a knee. He's healthy. He's just not good.
Yeah. I came around. Home run.
Okay.
All right. So if it happens, it's a home run for.
Wait, is this an old school one or a purple daily right
This is for Mackey and Judd. It's on the Mackey and Judd show.
Because I was going to say,
okay.
It
I'm
might
also
be
coming for the home run lead, so that's also
purple daily. It's a touchdown.
All right, put it on the board. There it is.
All right, old tweets exposed. Let's do it. Couple Wolves related tweets from both of you. Start with Phil.
Oh boy.
November 8th, 2019. Someone tweeted at you, "You've always been a Wiggins backer. I crushed him for 4 years and deservedly so, but I bought stock when Ryan and Gerson took over. Hashtag the Wolves Whisperer. Both Ryan and Gerson have now been out. Were you still buying stock on Andrew Wiggins and crushed him 4 years ago? But now you're buying the stock on Gerson and Ryan with them now being out in the Timberwolves organization?
Listen, I momentarily hedged because Ryan and Gerson were going to get him to shoot fewer long twos, and they did. And he was better than he was before, but he was still Andrew Wiggins. So I probably lost on that investment.
Man,
if I bought stock on Wiggins in 2019, I probably lost on that investment.
22 months.
Overall, I have shorted that stock for 6 years. And so I'm ahead long term. And now I love all these idiot Warriors fans from a year ago.
That was
Whoa,
awesome.
what a fleecing. Oh, we'll see. Now we'll see, their draft pick if he winds up being a superstar, then maybe. But oh man, Andrew Wiggins is okay. You guys missed the playoffs with Andrew Wiggins last year because he's Andrew Wiggins. And now Andrew Wiggins is not going to play in 20 games because he refuses to comply with, state and city regulations and NBA policy. So have fun, I guess, Warriors fans. It's still worth it. Attaching that first-round pick was worth it to get rid of Andrew Wiggins. And the Wolves got D'Lo.
22 months later, though, all three of those parties no longer with the Wolves. Ryan, Gerson, and Andrew Wiggins.
Kind of amazing.
Yeah, it is kind of amazing.
All right, that's okay. I'm leader in the clubhouse, but let's see what we got.
Let's see it.
Judley, earlier this year, actually January 1st of 2020-21, I see a lot of people calling for Ryan Saunders' job. And yes, these past 3 games have been brutal, but no one is getting fired unless Karl Anthony Towns approves. And I see no way he calls for a coach he likes to be fired, especially when Cat is out. Ryan was fired maybe a week later.
This is bad. I think I took the lead.
Oh, man. I love how this tweet, you're basically giving Karl Anthony Towns LeBron James level organizational power here. Where I
really
know.
did. I really didn't
consult with LeBron.
I didn't think they'd do it. I didn't think they'd do it, but Gerson did.
New Year, same Judd. January 1st, 2021.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is right. Yeah, he got fired in January, February. Ryan.
It might have been February.
When was that Knicks game?
Yeah, somewhere within a month.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
In the month of
You also that
side.
tweet plays into this idea that everything you do, even though you're a garbage franchise for 15 years, you better run it through Cat. No, just build a good team. You don't need Cat's input. Just build a good team.
We're still working on it.
Cat's probably I don't know. I don't care. Just bring the best coach in.
I think I took the lead, by the way.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
Now let's see what Declan has to offer.
it's 0-2 in the count, and here comes a backdoor breaking ball from yours truly, pun intended. September 27th, 2010. Kevin Slowey just showed why he should be on the playoff roster.
All right, let's
Saw this
look this
yesterday in my
up.
Facebook memories. So he did something, Phil, on either the 26th or 27th. I'm guessing it was probably the night of, so it probably was the 27th. It had to be one of the last games of the season because they would have had it clinched by now. But he must have done something in a meaningless game that young senior year in high school Declan bought stock on with Kevin Slowey.
All right, so 2010. This is one of the most fun years. First year at Target Field. So wow, Kevin Slowey made a bunch of starts that year.
He almost pitched didn't he have like a perfect game or a no-no through 7 on like 100+ pitches? And I remember Gardy pulled him, and it was a huge
Slowey?
deal. Yeah. He almost pitched
I
a
don't remember
no-no.
that. No.
Oh my. Okay.
Wow.
Wait a second. So on September 27th of 2010, Slowey went an inning and 2/3 and gave up 6 earned runs.
Oh, so it was tongue-in-cheeky. So it must,
Were you-
I was
were
being
you-
tongue.
were
I
you
guess I was
mocking
being tongue
Kevin Slowey here?
Yeah, I guess so. I was mocking Kevin Slowey. I just read this and I didn't do the fact check, which probably should have done now looking back on it. But I just figured he did something amazing and saw this Facebook memory 2 days ago, and I thought, oh, this would be great for Old Tweets Exposed. I'm praising Kevin Slowey. He got rocked. Okay,
Yeah,
good to know.
He was very bad. Gave up 6 earned runs, inning and 2/3, only 1 strikeout, and then he got removed from the starting rotation. He made a relief appearance later in the week then, and that was kind of the end for Slowey. So Judd Zulgad,
I win. Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Your adamant stance that the Wolves would never fire Ryan Saunders. You want to upset Karl Anthony Towns.
I couldn't have done it without those New Year's Day surleys. But I'd
Yeah.
like to thank everybody who helped me out. Do that tweet. Very long tweet as well. Full character
Amazing.
count.
So all right, so Declan's got his bonus prediction. We'll see if Christian Darrisaw now, like if he's active and Rashad Hill gets hurt, then boom, next man up. Let's say Rashad Hill just gets bullied in the first half, and Myles Garrett has 3 sacks in the first half, and the Vikings
Right.
are down by 10.
Also,
Would they come out in the second half with a new left tackle?
I don't think so. I don't think they'd make the kid play against Garrett. Do you?
Seems like
It just seems
terrible,
like
a terrible place to debut him against. Well, look, the Bears debuted Justin Fields as a starter for the first time against Myles Garrett. That went well.
that worked out.
Yeah. Well, you know what? This club held Chandler Jones in check. Week 2.
Yeah, man.
They did.
It's true. That's a good point.
They did.
I'm just going for home runs here. Don't let me get hot. That's all I'm saying. Don't let me get hot.
You
So
keep
there it
saying
is.
that. You keep saying
That's what
that
my
like
buddy
it's a-
said. My buddy Sammy
like it's a
Peace is on the
threat to
golf
get
course.
hot.
Don't let Declan get hot. Don't let me get hot.
I don't think that's been a concern on the golf course for you.
It hasn't been. It hasn't. But a good saying nonetheless.
All right, that's a wrap. Mackey and Judd. Purple Daily. You can find our daily Vikings conversations and Vikings Vent Line right after the Browns-Vikings game is over on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. Don't miss it. It's the most interactive show, most fun show in Minnesota sports. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Mackey and Judd.